Michael, can you do a sound check for us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, hello, everyone. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. It's 5:35 p.m. and we have a great agenda. So first on our list is approval of minutes. We have two minutes to approve: the November 15th regular meeting and the November 28th special meeting. Did everyone have a chance to review them? And does anyone have corrections or a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve both agendas.
Awesome. You have a second?
I second that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, public comment on
Vote. Should we vote?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Aaliyah. Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Aaliyah. Oh, I always forget that. Okay. Public comment. I don't see any public. All right, so we will move right into old business. Item 1, the Proposition 123 planning. Aaliyah and Michael, did you all put this together and want to talk about it? Can we pull that up on the?
It, I think it's I think it's plan. It has plan in it. Sorry, I'm going blind here with my computer. And it has the number, the item number on the agenda no, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I can introduce it and then Michael can add as well. So we've talked about kind of what we need to do, some of the things that we need to do to get started on getting behind Prop 123 and the background research and that one of the first things we need is to kind of put together a plan so that we have some outline for what we need to do. As I started working on it, I thought it might be, well, it felt most straightforward and easiest to put something together for the first quarter. And because I feel like a lot of the work and the research and the understanding, the capacity building internally that we need to do will help inform kind of what some of the next steps are. And so that's what this is. It started as kind of just focused on Prop 123. Michael was a big help, and one of his recommendations was, hey, let's make this like more broader for everything that we're planning on doing in the first quarter. And so that's what it is now. And with one of the action items in there being develop a plan, complete this plan for the remainder of the year as we develop those tasks and action items. Michael, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, real quickly. I know some of it I like broke down to like much smaller tasks, and some of it seems very obvious, but I thought it might be helpful to like really say like exactly everything that needs to be done. Just so everyone has like a real clear picture of all the items. And so maybe it'll help give us a sense of accomplishment as we're able to check things off as we're going. But totally open to suggestions as well.
So there's two documents. What is up on the screen right now is a spreadsheet tracker that Michael put together that can be really helpful to kind of assign tasks and track. And then there's the Word document, which provides like, some, real high level background, but then kind of dives into a summary of the tasks as well.
Yeah, I greatly appreciated it. I think that it's it's easy, like you said, to track our progress and to set assignments. I was just looking here at the action plan detail one that has a little more content in it, and yeah, I think it's great. Thank you for doing that. So are we, would we like to start like getting some things filled in these sections? Looks like, let's see. Sorry, I keep losing mine. I know I have the email chain sort of going with DOLA, the staff. So I know I can keep following up on that.
Yeah, I think a couple things that I was hoping to get out of this meeting is, I think there were a couple highlighted items on the plan that we could talk about, but also, just for all of us to get feedback on it and decide if this is, if this makes sense, or are these the items that we want to move forward with in the near term, and then identify what action items we should be pursuing for the next meeting.
Got it.
Could I say a couple things?
Yes.
And again, apologize to Aaliyah because she did send this to me ahead of time and I failed to review it, but a couple things, but I think it's great. What I have looked at is very good. There's just a couple things that I think would be helpful. One is to add something on recruiting members, the new members to the board. And two is to assign, and I think that's what you're intended to do tonight, is to start assigning responsibility for these tasks. Who's, I add another column, who is taking on the responsibility. I was thrilled to see the Pikes Peak Bulletin Initiative. That's going to take some significant work, but that's great. I think that's very good. And I would think that the city website might pick that up as well. Talk with Alex, or have whomever talk with Alex about that as well. So keep the momentum going. So good job to you and Mike.
Just gonna see how
I was gonna second what Nancy said about the recruitment piece.
Mhm.
But everything else looks good.
Yeah, I think that's a great one to add. What category do we add that under, or do we create a new one? We have education, relationship building, program support, ongoing planning.
I mean, maybe increase knowledge and capacity. No, we're late now. What about
Ongoing
that, Rick?
planning, I mean, it's kind of planning for that.
I think that makes sense.
Which one? Michael, which one did you say?
For ongoing planning,
Okay.
because I think I tried to align those with like the goals that we had set for 2024, and then ongoing planning was kind of more like administrative tasks that don't fit into one of our specific goals.
Okay. So like for member recruitment, do we have, like, we have brought this up at every meeting, so we probably need to put something, some action items into that. We talked about like looking for specific, for people with like specific skill sets, maybe someone again in like the, real estate or development arena. We talked about somebody with maybe like did we say like a communications background? I can't remember. Maybe we just said development and yeah, building type, real estate, yes. Yeah, and a retired planner. So. Anyone know any of those people? I've been trying to think, like, who do I know? Who do I know?
What's Michelle doing?
Is she a Manitou
Michelle,
person?
Is it?
Anthony?
Anthony? Michelle Anthony?
No, she's not. She's on the Pikes Bolton board, isn't she?
I was
But she's
just
not
gonna
Manitoba.
say, if we are planning on doing some work with the bulletin, why not announce that we need members as a first start? And then also perhaps we could get city communications to post about needing HAB members. I know they have, I've seen it in the report, but just maybe asking to get on Alex's schedule for 2024 on that issue.
Yeah, we had talked about that, I think or I had brought it up at our special meeting that, yeah, if we could do like just a little snippet taster, like we have to be careful about how much we put out there if we don't know, if we're still learning about the, Prop 1, 2, 3, but I don't know how we could do something early to try to recruit members. I don't know how much we want to share on where we are, that's sort of what we just need to decide if it's just an introduction, like, hey, did you know?
Yeah, the
We
did you
opted
know
in.
goes really well because the city opted in to Prop 2.23.
Yeah.
The HAB will be responsible in 2024 for facilitating a lot of the duties. Do you have any background in real estate planning? Would you like to
Yeah.
be a part of it? Sorry, Hannah.
Yes, please. Thank you.
For the record, Hannah Van Nimwegen. I wonder if maybe this is something we need to look at in the bylaws, but if we allow ex officio members, so they would be members that are non-voting, but then they could be located outside of the city of Manitou Springs. So they would be able to provide expertise, but not necessarily be voting on things. And then you could do really targeted ads, like go to the various housing authorities and just say, hey, anyone want to be a member?
Yeah.
Or Greshio or something like that. But we may need to amend the bylaws to allow ex officio members or something like that. If that's the correct title, I'm not super sure.
The HAB does not have bylaws to my knowledge, but there is a ordinance that has all the functions and responsibilities in it, as well as common, and I don't think that it calls in any way for ex officio members, but I don't think it precludes ex officio either. So I think that you could do that if you want. I mean, I think I mean, the alternates are always encouraged to come to meetings, even if they don't have to, even if they don't vote, they're still encouraged to come to meeting. And I think you could just invite anyone to show up at a show up at your meetings and participate. It's just how you present it to people. But yeah, I think that that's a great idea, is to get some
Yeah.
people who don't live here that are, might be willing to participate.
That'd be great. Cause yeah, I think like we talked about, there's people that live in like Crystal Park, but don't live in considered Manitou, so. That might have interest, so.
But really, like, the Grescio would be a great partner, and I think that they'd be interested. The El Paso, or the Pikes Peak, what is it, Housing Authority, which is it? I think that they'd be a great asset. So in terms of relationship building, I think that it's well worth looking into.
Yes, for sure. Cause we had, what did we? I think maybe you just named them all that I had put in the minutes from.
But I also think Amy's idea of the initial article being just kind of a background on what the HAB does, outlining the responsibilities, saying that they now have the responsibility for Prop 123, briefly outline Prop 123, and saying we need members. Please contact such so and so, Allison.
Yeah.
For further information.
All right, so briefly outline Proposition 123 and a call for members to include ex officio, non-voting or members with expertise.
And then assign someone to draft the first article, Amy. Since she has a unique background with this sort of thing. If she's
I
got
was gonna
time.
say, I don't mind doing that because I'm in break right now.
Okay,
from school, so
that'd be
I
great.
can put my name, I'm sorry, Amy Mock, for the record, is volunteering
All
to write
right.
the first "Did you know" for the bulletin and send it to Allison. Right?
Sounds great, yes. So when should we, on that item with the conversation with the bulletin, did they have a timeline?
They didn't. I think we should get back to them. Well, I told them I'd get back to them after this meeting. And they did say sometime in January that it could start in January.
Okay,
So, so I think understanding from them, I mean, I think we can assume, let's say a week in advance of publication is probably good. I mean, they used to ask for things like 2-3 days in advance of publication, which all seems so tight.
yeah.
1 to 2.
Rhonda Van Pelt has been telling me 10 days, so.
Okay.
So we'll get clarification.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to
So let's
send
see, yeah,
whoever
in
you're
2 weeks, yeah.
talking to my way or
For sure,
CC me or
mhm.
whatever.
And what I was thinking is maybe like talking about assigning responsibilities. If we had somebody that was kind of responsible for, and this is getting into that other agenda item, but the overall Pikes Peak Bulletin monthly submission. And then, and not that person has to draft. So like other different people can support every month to help draft what it is. So I'm since I've started the conversations with Rhonda, I'm happy to take that role on. So I can follow up with her and I'll copy you and keep you in. Yeah, we can all coordinate with her on what the deadline is and then we can get like kind of that process established moving forward. Which week it'll be and what do you think in terms of?
I would, well, I'd have to talk to her, but if you want me to be that liaison, I don't mind because I feel like you have our skill sets.
I'm
be
not sure about
honest.
that.
And I've worked with Rhonda
But you
for
are,
many, many
well,
years.
you are.
No, but that is my
communication
skill set. Like
skill set,
I've been in
yes.
PR and communications for, now I'm doing something different now, but
Yep.
been working with Rhonda for a long
Mhm.
time. So I don't mind, and Lynn, so I don't mind being that liaison.
Okay.
And because I already am like, what's the size? What's the spec?
Are-
What's the
You know what?
graphics?
That sounds perfect. Thank you. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Just connect me.
You-
and I'll-
Yes.
You
Awesome.
sound great.
All right, Amy, so we've already assigned, so we have Amy for the liaison for the bulletin. I know, again, that was a little ahead, but we did talk about identifying action items, so getting that. I don't even know the bulletin anymore. Are they weekly?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought it was Oh, okay.
It's been weekly.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was kind of a question, Amy Mocker, if they're like, are they charging us for this article? Because if we're
They're
doing a
not.
monthly, okay.
Hmm.
That's very kind.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll reply to Rhonda and connect you two and on that email string and go further.
Good. So then we'll just have to figure out timing. And again, that can be a conversation you have with her on like, is it the third, whatever of each, or, and then we know, okay.
And actually, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting, but Hannah, do we have to, since these boards are acting by the city, does it have to be vetted with Alex?
I was gonna bring that up.
Okay.
I'll touch base with Alex and get his opinion. And if nothing else, then he'll just want to know when something's being published and what it says generally, so he's able to field any interview requests that might come out of it. But I can clarify his role and report it back.
Right, Hannah, thank you. So you'll clarify. Yeah, if he needs, I don't know if he needs to see a draft or.
Yeah, if
anything,
you
but-
want to communicate to Alex, Hannah, that I'm happy to send him first drafts and collaborate with him.
What's
I-
that? He
I think
knows
that
you.
would be a good idea.
Okay. That's great. So see, I thought we had a communications person. So awesome. We have that. Check that as the social worker intern. All right. That is excellent. So we've got two firm things. Aaliyah will connect with Amy with bulletin, and then you'll connect with Alex and we'll collaborate and get something on. So would be great. So yeah, we'll call for and then it sounds like we don't need to clarify on the ex officio. So it's just really anyone. We're saying those who would live in Manitou could apply to be on the board, and anyone else would just be like involved.
Or like providing a subject matter expertise, on
Yes.
a regular or irregular basis.
You got it, Amy. Okay.
She's got.
Well, that'd be great. And yeah, and in the meantime too, we still can think about like our network of people, and especially knowing that we can extend it broadly. And I did speak with Laura Nilsson from the Apartment Association just on other things, and had told her that Manitou had opted in, and she thought that was exciting. And she had said that Lee Patke has sort of like given like his staff a lot more kind of responsibility. So he does have more availability to come out and participate in, things like this. So I thought that was awesome. He's at Grescio. He's the ED or whatever there, the big wig. And we had him out here. I don't remember who. Might have just been Corrine and a few people, but we toured like some of the motels in our early conversations about like looking to see if any of the motels could be converted to affordable housing like they've done. That one that sort of sits at 8th Street in Colorado. And at the time, he just said he wouldn't have, felt like there wasn't enough financial resources available to do such a thing, but perhaps now. So.
I was just gonna say, I've talked with him as well, and now that he knows that Manitou has leadership support, because when when you guys met with him before, it was just the HAB that was interested. There was no support in any way amongst the rest of, but now that there's support, I think he's excited about helping or, consulting. So that's a good thing.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Cool.
So-
Oh, go ahead. Were you talking? Sorry.
I was just going to say, should we go through these action items and assign responsibilities and identify, which ones we want to address in our January meeting?
Yes, sounds like a great idea.
Just
So-
checked off one already.
Yep.
Next week bulletin.
So let's see. So you're just saying, so some of these, let's see, so you're just wanting to go to the ones that we're showing like sort of this early, yeah, I guess they all are early, but some have more specific December and January start dates.
Well, and there's not too many on, I guess I'm looking at the table. I guess we could look at either. I'm looking at the table in the Word document. And maybe that's the best way to do it, because it's like the broader tasks and there's not too many. So if we could get people responsible for each of these broader tasks as we develop subtasks under that, there could, be others that are responsible for various subtasks. But like so under education, there's 5, review and become familiar with program material, meet with DOLA representative, Pikes Peak Bulletin, 1, check. Increase HAB knowledge and capacity through training and research funding opportunities to support capacity building. So I think it'd be great if we have, champions for each of those, to not that, each of these things have different level of effort. And so not that the champion has to be responsible for all of that work. I think in some of the cases that will be what it is, but have someone that leads those efforts.
Yeah, okay. So let's see.
Yeah, that might be a good way to start, is just people can volunteer for things and then we can see what we're left with.
Yeah, so like I said, on B, I have started the communication. I just need to reconnect with them. So you can keep me on item B under education 1B, contacting DOLA and scheduling a meeting. Hopefully I requested January, and again, I'll follow up when I get back. Maybe in the morning, I don't know. Then let's see, and we have Amy already on 1C, again with support from each of us, because I'm sure we'll all have some content and support on that.
I think a natural fit is for me on 3A and 3B with these are both in relation to the energy efficiency program.
Perfect.
This is Crystal Carr. I would be open to either D or E. I don't want to hog anything, so. Just because I tend to get a lot of emails about those things. So that's kind of a easy one for me, or easy ones if nobody
E
else wants
and
it.
E?
Yeah, D and E.
So identifying trainings and events,
Yeah.
and compiling a list. Yeah, you're right. You do get a lot of those and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like always
you'll show them to me and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, yeah, that'd be great if you could keep them in. I don't know. How do we? I guess we're just sharing them. We would just be sharing them at each meeting. But if they come, if she gets information ahead of time.
Yeah, that was kind of one of my questions about with that and with the sunshine law. Like, when I find stuff, who should I share it to?
For the record, Hannah, so, the question was, when a board member gets a piece of information that they want to share with the other board members, what the proper protocol is. And what, since this is like a designated board and not just like a working committee, do have to abide by open meetings law. And so what I would ask is that you actually go through staff. And staff would distribute that information through like a blind carbon copy email. Or if you are confident in doing those blind copies and copying staff, that's also fine. But if there's an email string, a text string, anything like that, that has more than 2 members at a time, then we have to legally post it. So 2 people can work together, but it cannot be 3 without staff posting it. But the same applies to text strings, email strings, things like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Right.
just to clarify, I'm sending everything to Allison and Allison, you disseminate,
Okay. I
right?
think I think it's just we just have to figure out like what are like how often we send out emails and stuff, because that can get tricky. That's sort of where I was trying to say, like, because I know Crystal will send me things and I collect it and then I'm like, oh, the day's already passed and I haven't like sent anything. But I'm like, I think it's just sort of as a board, as a committee, I don't want to overwhelm you all either with a bunch of content. Be great if we could have, and I know like I'm sure we can't, but like how CHP has that for the board, for the Pikes Peak Continuum Care Board, that little landing place. What is it called?
Base camp.
Oh,
They have a
yeah.
program called Base Camp.
You just
Mhm.
turn your thing off.
Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead.
They do a program called
Base
Base Camp and it's like all on there, but it's not for the public, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't apply. Yeah.
But if there was a way that, yeah, we could have a place to put that, and maybe it is, I mean, at one time, did we have we had a web page or something?
We have a Dropbox that
we
I
do?
use now just personally. And it was brought up if we can utilize that again. And I think Chelsea was gonna look into it, but it didn't look promising. I mean, even one thought is like, can it be shared with the whole public? And there's nothing confidential on there. It's certainly something that could be shared.
My understanding is that it would have to be publicly available. And I don't know if Dropbox has that capability.
I'm sorry, it's Gmail. It's a Gmail account,
okay.
but same thing.
Same concept. Let me see where that conversation landed and then I can report back.
Yeah, Amy here, because I could have swore Chelsea was saying that there is a portal for us to upload things to on the city page. And yes, being mindful that it is available to the public, but it would be a place to hold documents, especially because Michael's overseas right now.
Just,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
just,
Nancy.
there's 2 concepts. One is the web page where you want to have, you don't want to overwhelm it. And another would be a workspace, which I think is what you're talking about,
Yes.
is more of a workspace. And I'm very familiar with the website because I'm on the Hiawatha Gardens Task Force, and where we haven't done it in a while, but we typically go through and curate what goes on that website. But a workspace, I don't know if that city has that capability or not. But virtual workspace.
If not, just for the record, I do not mind getting a million emails from you, Allison. I'll just drag it over
Drag
into
it
a
to the
little
HAB.
folder.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, I just want to be mindful of
Mhm.
everyone's time, and I know it can get overwhelming, like,
Mhm.
I'm not the best person of checking emails all the time, so I have to be like, yes, go through them and move them to files and then remember they're there.
And
I also,
go ahead, Michael.
so I also don't mind getting a ton of emails, but I do think it would be helpful to have a place for like this document to live, as well as like maybe the document kind of showing the funding opportunities. And different items that as we're working through things, we're going to want to have a place to keep those and continue like be living documents. Does that make sense?
Yes, yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, and I really like what you just said, Michael, the summary documents, because I do have a hard time processing all these emails that come through. But if it's like an agenda item and say, okay, we're going to go through all of these funding opportunities, here's a summary of them, then that's a way more tangible activity for me to review and then come prepared to discuss.
Yeah. All right, again, not wanting to add more work to our city planning department, but if there's a way that, yeah, if there is anything, I don't know if any of the other committees, like you said, have any kind of workspace, or if they're just targeting their time at the meeting and then, doing their thing and then coming back. Like, I think that's just something we'll just have to think about what could work and what's available, so. Okay. We'll put a pin in that. Put it over to the side and figure something out. Okay, so we have.
And I also wanted to volunteer to work on a template for city council reports. I think that's down towards the bottom.
Oh, awesome.
4B for Michael.
4B for Michael. Yes, perfect. That would be great.
2A for Nancy.
Okay.
Historic Preservation Committee as well. I don't know. I should not forget that. I have to do this all the time.
So 2A. You are a comment.
HPC.
Okay, so add HPC to 2A. Meet with URA and HPC.
And I mean, I can also be on or do T 2B. I mean, who else did other people say? Did you say you were going to do that? I mean, yeah, but I think between you and I, we'll have good, but Crystal's amazing at that too. With the work at the city.
So who's leading 2B?
I think Crystal said she was going to do it. You said, right, Crystal? Sorry.
Yeah.
Earlier, okay.
I had you and I, but
Okay, I said I could assist her. Could there be two people? Can we have two people?
No, 4A is the plan for the rest of the year.
Oh, like that.
You're right, yeah. So 4A, Michael, we can work on that together.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you for doing that.
And maybe we can include in that finding a place for this document to live and then other documents as well.
Yep.
So 1A is all that remains.
Oh, what was 1A?
It's a, I mean, it's,
Oh,
right.
develop key summary. I mean, I kind of
And it
thought that was
also-
Amy with a little bit of.
I can provide a summary. For Prop 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and I should have, I mean, I might have some of that already too, with
if you
just
find
the
it, just throw it over.
work
It
that I
is-
did to present it. So I,
Absolutely, yeah, it's underway already.
Yes.
Yeah.
so Amy and Allison sort of are taking care of 1A. Because with the information I presented to the city. Yeah, exactly. So put the two of us down for that.
So I think that's the next step. So we do have, we do have names by every activity now. Awesome. Every action. So yeah, I think the next step is, in this plan, there's a range of completion dates. And maybe we could start by looking at the ones for January and February and then see, well, and some of these are more, a completion date might be March or April, but there's things that we're going to be doing interimly. So yeah, maybe now let's shift to what should we be working on over the next month and have on our agenda for January.
Okay.
This is Amy. I can definitely provide the summary by our next meeting. And then as far as the Did You Know article, that's going to be based on the bulletin's availability. So I will. Okay. So then I'll have that drafted by the
I mean, I think that
next
was it. Like,
meeting?
I wasn't sure, like when you connect, find out if she could give us like a certain week of the month, so then we have a better idea, like ask her, like, what would they want, like the
So if I need to put
third or
something,
fourth week,
depending on that date,
Yes,
I'll come back with the information, but I might need to get with you sooner
yes.
for the draft.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think if we could ask for that like third or fourth week,
Okay,
might
that's
be
your preference.
helpful. I don't know. Does it
Mhm.
matter though? We just have a little more time, at least right now. I guess once we get going, it would
Right.
matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we get going, we could, I think, whatever the
Be
cadence is.
ready,
we could
yeah.
put it
So I would
into-
just ask her whatever it is that's available for them, I'm all for it. We'll make it work. And
I
then
even summarized Prop 1, 2, 3 in a paper like last semester. So.
you did in a paper. Awesome. Okay, so let's see. And the DOLA, like I said, I'm gonna
Mhm.
re-follow up. And just try to get it firmed up, the date. And emphasize that it doesn't have to be in person. It can be virtual too, so.
So potentially that could be for the January meeting if
Yes.
they're available.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I think same thing with D and E is Crystal just comes to the meetings with the availabilities, of trainings and research and funding opportunities, right? She just reports each month.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Because then you'd have, if she's like, these are the following trainings, then we'd have a month to decide like, oh, I can fit that into my capacity or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'll know, oh, that's already behind, or we won't have time, I won't have time to
Yeah.
present that, or.
And I guess the great thing, a lot of those trainings have a recording. So even if we missed it, we can likely even
Mhm,
just
good
go back
point.
and assign someone to watch it or.
What were you gonna say? I always, I'm like, what were you gonna say? Oh. Okay, so next is you, the URA and the, right? Oh, yeah, that's, well, it's my understanding that they are probably going to get a new. Like, isn't the URA going through some changes right now? Yeah.
So in January, I'd like to get together with Leah and Allison to just talk, and then we can determine what month to bring them to the meeting, if that's okay with you guys. But they are very interested in pursuing, and I don't know if Hannah, again, has anything to share on what's going on with LaFun or not.
No, and that's purely because it's gonna be quasi judicial. Yeah. I just don't want to put you in that spot. I don't have a whole lot of new information, but eventually when I do, then maybe, yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay. Sounds good. And then Nancy, had you said you know the individuals that have acquired the Cheyenne Village property?
Oh, that's a great point. I was supposed to get with them. Yes,
Okay.
I do, and I will.
Okay, so can we add that
Yes.
to
Yes.
her section 2A?
Okay.
I mean, it could be 2B, but. So if we start, so I'm trying to just think, so. There's like 3 or 4, I think, funding types that people can access through Proposition 1, 2, 3, but then I think there's also some other ones that maybe fall or sit like in under like the housing authority. So I think those are things that I think are important, and maybe that's where I could ask Dola to come and give us, you know, summaries on each. So then we sort of then have a better idea of how to like present it in the bulletins or communicate it as the opportunities as we're like looking, talking to like URA and other places like the Barker House. They're ones that
Yeah.
that I feel like could benefit from something like this as a preservation piece.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely key, Allison, is that because the briefing that Dola gave was very high level,
Yep.
but we need to know the nuts and bolts. We can go and tailor presentations to each of these different groups
Okay.
and say, here's how you can take advantage of this to increase affordable housing specifically to the people that you guys are talking with.
Okay. So that's what I'll ask in this more specific follow-up. If they can do that in the January meeting. And if I'll let you all know.
Yeah, that'd be great. And as part of like an outcome of 1A I would be really useful for me is like summaries and cheat sheets of
Yeah.
kind of all these things, because I keep going back to what is Prop 1, 2, 3 and what are the opportunities and what does it offer? And it's easy to get muddled in my head. And so if we kind of, based on the research and what DOLA can bring us and everything, we can create some cheat sheets for ourselves and for sharing with others, that'd be really
And
helpful.
thank you for saying that, Ali, because I have the same feeling. Every time I read up on it, I feel like I'm just so scratching the surface and I can't really
Mhm.
go out and market it.
Mhm.
And so cheat sheets would be very helpful.
I will definitely include some real world examples, of how that would be like real estate developer X approaches Manitou Springs for a fast track, would that help?
You mean,
Mhm.
you mean writing sort of some of those up just to have
Mhm.
ready?
Yeah, because there are different pockets of money in each pocket, from my understanding. I did write the paper. I got an A, so but I don't think the professor knows. But, they're managed, even the grants are managed by different departments in the state, right? So to me, in my mind, that's how I do it. I'm like, okay, I'm a real estate developer. I want to develop an apartment complex in Manitou. How does Prop 1, 2, 3 impact me?
Yeah. Yes. Or I'm
A little summary,
I
or
already
I'm
have a rental unit and convert or
Mhm.
something. Yeah.
I'll try
Okay.
to break down some stuff like that.
Okay.
So Amy, will you actually do like a communication plan as well to target each article for a specific outcome?
Each article of like that I'm using for the research.
No, for the paper, just for the Pikes Peak.
Oh.
one. Because my sense is the first article would be, the main outcome would be a bit of an background of the HAB and why, needing new members. And then as we et cetera, et cetera. So it just seems like if you had a target for each article.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, the first one I had was the Prop 123 background and an appeal for members.
Yes.
I could certainly include a HAB background on there, but you get a little wordy on the papers and people don't read it. So we could definitely say for more information on the HAB, go to this portion of the website.
And I just know that you're great at this kind of stuff. So I'm so happy you're on the group
Oh,
and can
no.
do that because I know that it is an important skill set for this particular thing as well.
But I hear you, and I do think I would probably need this month.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
And we can, I mean, that can be something too. You can bring, we can talk about,
yeah, so essentially we need 11 more.
yeah. So if we were to do, if January was going to be did you know Manitou opted
Mhm.
into Proposition 1? And we're, calling for
Yeah, I
people
think
to join our efforts in this. And then the next-
February for low hanging fruit could definitely be the energy efficiency. Did you know that Manitou has an energy efficiency program? And
Yeah.
then,
And then maybe in March, then maybe we do have a better idea of some opportunities where, like you said, did you know if you're a homeowner,
yeah,
you know,
maybe what was Councilman Shada kept emphasizing that night was the rehabilitation of existing. Yeah.
yeah, that's the key. I think that's going to be the majority of our bulk is going to have to be. That's why I keep pushing.
So that puts
Properties.
us into the first quarter
Yep.
with I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And just because I know you couldn't read this, but in Rhonda's email, it says that they've also been asked to run a regular info about sustainability, and we prefer to stagger those so we don't have both topics in the same issue. So I suspect that the sustainability is not a city-sponsored. There's a sustainability group, citizens group out there, but it's not on behalf of the city. So I'm not sure if Rhonda knows that or not. So just, there might be a little sensitivity there, that's all.
I think once they see what we're writing about, that it's very vastly different, then it might be okay. But I've made a note to talk to Rhonda.
Sensitivity on the side of the sustainability group?
No, more on the
Or
part of the city.
off topic?
Yeah,
Okay.
it could potentially be a hot topic. I don't know, but there's just some sensitivity about what the sustainability group would like the city to do and what the city would like to do. So, but they are not a city-sponsored group, whereas you guys are a formal city group, official board in support of the city. So two different statuses.
Mm-hmm.
For the record, Hannah Van Dimwegen, but I just got a response from Alex about our earlier inquiry. So Alex, I hope you're not watching and that you're hanging out at home instead.
Yeah.
But it says, yes, he would like to review them. He mentioned, or I'll just read it verbatim. It would be best if they could write them all in bulk and then we could pre-approve them on a schedule, but we could also do it monthly. So whichever worked better for you.
Yeah, I'll go quarterly.
If we are, okay, that works perfect. If we are going to do it reoccurring, it would also maybe be worth paying for ad space as opposed to writing letters to the editor, et cetera. So that might be an
Yeah,
idea.
that's kind of what I was alluding to when I said, are we paying for this? Because
I don't. Aaliyah, because it said it's not a letter to the editor, right?
No, it'll be a dedicated
Okay, there,
space.
okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, if you want to let Alex know, I'll bulk out till March and I will be in contact.
And we do have at least from our understanding, a dedicated.
And that helps me anyway, because I'll just do it before school.
All right. Thank you. And then, yeah, I'd like to, I mean, I don't have to look at them, but does everyone want to look at them or we just want to let Amy and Alex do their thing and we're good?
No, I'll for sure send them to Allison. And then if you want to disseminate however across the group, that's fine. But I do think you're the chair, like you.
Okay.
said. And then you're gonna share with staff. But Alex and I can email Alex.
Okay.
I'm allowed to email Alex directly, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
If you could, no, that would be fine. Alex will let me know if there's anything that I need to be aware of or.
Do you want me to
something.
CC Chelsea or anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be great. But it'll be okay if one slips by without Chelsea or something.
Okay.
All right. Way to go. We have got a lot done.
Mhm.
And thank you for doing the the minutes because we have a lot of content.
Yeah, there's one item for the January meeting. We had talked about me coming today with some ideas for the energy efficiency program, and I didn't get to that for this meeting with everything else, but I plan to do that for the January meeting.
Okay.
Unless if we get DOLA here, then that, might
Yeah, I
be the whole meeting, which is totally fine, but we can plan for these other items
Okay.
and obviously work around DOLA's schedule.
That sounds great. All right, everyone feel like we have accomplished item 1 on the work?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Awesome. And then our new business was the Pikes Peak Bulletin segment, but sounds like we've also accomplished what we needed on that. So next we have the 2024 board elections. So, I had offered just because everyone was new to stay on as chair. If someone else really wants it, please raise your hand now. But I'm happy to, continuing shuffling along here. And I
We
think
appreciate you, Allison.
Aaliyah,
We adore you, Allison, and we want you to stay on as chair.
You have done a phenomenal
Yes.
job this past 6 months. I mean, not just 6 months, but just like
Mhm.
the amount of work you've done in the past 6 months and the amazing presentations to council and working with staff. And thank you.
Thank you for all of your support, because it's like I told Aaliyah, like I said, on a good day, what you and Michael did was amazing. So thank you, that's why we have a committee.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I'm happy to remain in this role. Aaliyah, are you still willing to remain in the vice chair role?
I am, but I kind of ditto what you said. I would be totally happy to entertain anyone that is interested in stepping into that position, but I'm happy to stay on as vice chair.
Anyone have any interest? I think so. I think it's because we have such a new board, Aaliyah, you and I. We'll continue, and then hopefully next year, one of, you all
Mhm.
will, or we'll have new board members that might want that opportunity. So,
Mhm.
okay. So are we actually doing a vote? And then we have secretary. So if someone wants to volunteer and serve in that secretary role, that's awesome. If not, we'll just do it with the alphabetized opportunity with hopes that we recruit new members and they can also be part of that list.
Mhm.
Any thoughts around secretary?
I am fine with the way we're doing it currently this year. So we just continue into next year.
That works for me as well.
All right. Okay. So do we need to do votes then on motions and votes on chair, vice chair, and then the agreement for the secretary share role?
Crystal Carr motion that we accept the ballot with Allison as chair, Aaliyah as vice chair, and that we will rotate and take turns as secretary.
I second the motion as Amy Mock.
All in favor?
I.
Aye. Yeah, all right. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay. Check that off. Next, okay, how about reports? Nancy, do you have any reports for us?
Sure, I'll just give you an update of what council's been doing for the past month or so. We discussed an IGA, an intergovernmental agreement with Mountain Metro a couple last week or 2 weeks, I can't remember now. And Route 3 will remain the same and for the next foreseeable future, as will Route 33. Route 36 may change. So we're looking at some options for those. So, but we have a very good relationship currently with Mountain Metro, so that's a good thing. And, oh, by the way, Route 3 and Route 33 are the two busiest routes in the entire Mountain Metro system. So that's probably a good thing. Yeah, yeah.
I was just on Route 3 last night and we were the only people between Colorado Springs and Manitou.
Really? The summer and the incline.
Yeah, it's calculated in a yearly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the tourist.
The summer it's packed, standing room only and lines that can't get on. So, yeah, yeah.
Can I ask, what is the proposed changes to 36?
There's a whole bunch of them and staff is going to come back to us. Mr. Shada made quite a few. There's talk about running something down to Safeway. There's also talk about converting Route 3 between Manitou and Safeway to make it free, if there's a way to do that. So there was a lot of proposals. There's talk about running 36 year round, et cetera, et cetera. So-
Okay, just
So
curious.
nothing, just ideas, nothing concrete, because it's really hard to change the bus schedules. You have to go through a whole public process for it.
Mhm.
Additionally, went to a meeting a couple weeks ago. There was a public meeting last week or the week before, I can't remember now, on the two trams. And I don't know if any of you have seen the trams. They look great.
They're
are just-
wrapped now?
They wrapped them. Yep.
Oh.
They got some gorgeous artwork of Manitou on them. And the public meeting was to determine, come up with ideas on how to best use those trams. One will probably be used on the main route in Manitou with the primary customer being tourists or, whoever, and the other will be looking at how to use the other one specifically for residents. So, and then how to mesh the trams with the Mountain Metro schedules is one of the big challenges. So there's a lot of moving parts with public transportation, but a lot of support for public transportation here.
I have one question. The trams will be not free.
They will be free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I'm
Okay.
glad I'm not Roy and his staff trying to figure out how to make this work. So it'll be, but it's exciting and
And the
it's a
trams
pilot.
are year round?
The intent is for year round, yeah. It's exciting. It'll be a pilot. It'll continue to evolve. I mean, we won't get it right initially, the first time, but it's an exciting prospect.
Mhm.
We approved the final budget last night, and one of the things, the only big change in it was keeping property taxes flat from 2023. So it'll mean a small savings for people on their property tax bill, like I think a 350,000 house or 500,000 house, I can't remember, will realize like a $35 savings. Businesses will realize more than that because they pay more. But that was a way to acknowledge that property or valuations have gone up so high. We approved a columbarium for the cemetery. Actually, it was a volunteer donation from Dan Stewart and Ben Kunkel. So they are paying for the columbarium and we're putting, that's, if you don't know, that's for ashes. And it's a structure. And the city is putting in the foundation and they're donating the columbarium. So that's, I think, a wonderful addition for Manitou Springs. And we approved last night all the contracts for the library. So that's expected to start in the next couple of in February, I think. The construction's to start. They'll break ground in February, I think, or maybe they'll break ground in January. I can't remember, but very soon. We approved a change to the liquor license ordinance specifically for whatever it's called now, or therapy, because Stagecoach had the liquor license forever and no one knew until Orotherapy applied that it was within the
School
school zone. Yeah. So we changed the distance just so that, and because it was unfair to her. She'd purchased the
Yes.
property thinking that she would get a liquor license, no problem. So it was really unfair to her. And it shouldn't affect any other properties. Park hours, we approved park hours for all our parks, and it will, I can't remember what time it starts in the morning, like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or something. And it'll go till 10 o'clock at night. And after that, no one's allowed in the parks anymore. And then last night we approved we approved a couple people doing various things. We approved a loan. Well, no, we didn't either. We started the process for a loan, a huge loan for water treatment plant and water and sanitary improvements, which is huge, huge for our city because if you're not aware, and I'm sure you are, infrastructure within our city has been deferred maintenance for many, many years. So this is a way to really catch up on a lot of the maintenance to ensure the safe water supply and a good water supply in our city. So that's very exciting, actually. What else? Oh, the police station, we approved construction document for them to make some upgrades, desperately needed upgrades to the police department. And that's it.
Wow, it's a
lot.
lot. Thank you. Excellent. Hannah, any city or any staff reports?
Just a couple. So we are working on our development review process, which we briefly mentioned last meeting, I believe. And the goal of that is to set expectations so that we can clearly communicate them up front, and then that helps clear, or I don't want to say reduce risk, but it helps clear some of the fog around our development review process when a developer comes in, so that they have some reasonable expectation. And part of that would include like some type of expedited review for like affordable housing projects or other types of significant projects. And we haven't fully outlined exactly what that would look like, but that's our overall goal. So we have seen some progress there, but we'll do a full report once we have it like fully buttoned up. It's a lot of loose ends right now that we're working on. We are also working on a floodplain code amendment. That is just a very technical code amendment where we were requiring properties in the floodplain to replat, but those were properties that were on the original town plat. And we were just essentially creating barriers that makes it harder for people to pull building permits. So we're kind of combing through to try to find some of those barriers and reducing some red tape where we really don't get a benefit out of extra requirements. We are also, I did want to report back that our code enforcement officer has been really consistently using the habitability code that this board worked on and was passed in 2021, if I remember correctly. And we are often citing that section of code to bring up certain housing units to a more habitable standard. And that often includes bringing landlords to court, and they are never happy about that. But overall, I think we're making Manitou a more safe place to live. And yeah, go ahead.
That's so great to hear. And so is this in the context of the existing rental licensing program that's in place for 4 or more units? Is that where this comes up?
So we often get a lot of complaints from renters directly, but yes, that is also where it comes up. So we will get like a renewal for a business license and we do an inspection and find things. Or we get a complaint from a renter and we're allowed to enter a residence with like an invitation just from a renter, and we're able to cite a property owner from there too. So I would say of all the conversations I have with Cindy regarding, or I would say a solid like 60% of them are about habitability and using that section of code. So I just wanted to make sure this board knew that we use it quite often and it is working pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be, because I think they use it too for like vacation rentals. I don't know if they've always have been, but I know like with ours,
We do often
we got,
reference it,
got
yeah.
cited for some plug. I mean, it's awesome though. I appreciated it.
I also wanted to plug that the contract for Plan Manitou was approved last night. So we are going to kick that off in January. that will be a huge effort. We hired Clarion Associates and they did our previous comp plan, but have a couple of new sub-consultants. And so they're pretty clear on some of the criticism of our current comp plan, and they have some good ideas on what we can do moving forward. And part of that includes a strategic plan. So outlining what the city can do in the next like 5, 10, 15-year window and how to partner different projects, what funding sources may exist for those things. And a lot of housing initiatives can be plugged into that. And Plan Manitou now has a whole housing chapter. So updating that, this board would obviously be very involved in that part of the project. So more info to come on that one, but that one's moving forward. And I also wanted to plug, just as the HAB starts thinking about like how you can support like affordable housing development, one of the things that I hear probably most frequently, and of course, there's always some truth in the middle of these statements, but one of the things I hear most frequently is to increase density and increase building height so that affordable housing projects can pencil out a little more easily, given the increase of cost of labor and materials, land costs, especially with rates potentially going down. That means land cost then goes back up. So it's complicated. So just think about how I can only do what I can get approved. And so advocating for those increases, I think, will be important. I've just been hearing that feedback a decent amount. We as a department are also plugging along on a bunch of other various projects. That includes a special district study. We are working on digitizing all of our files. It was kind of, I practically cried in our office because I worked so hard to organize our current file room. And then I found out we have a whole offsite storage unit full of files. And I was like, are you kidding me? So we're going through those and ultimately our goal is to incorporate them into our file room because they are coreable documents. And so we need to have access to them. So that's going to be a big undertaking, but I think it will really open up how much information is available to the public. And if you're interested in coming in and just seeing what is on file for your property, we'll actually be able to pull it up, which I think will be really helpful. We're also working on replacing intersection signs on Manitou Avenue. So creating like a consistent signage plan so that signage, there's less signage clutter and you kind of don't notice it until you start noticing it. And that's kind of a weird way to put it. Yeah. So yes, and they're all at different heights. Some of them are not ADA compliant. So we're working on replacing those with a consistent design and heights and pattern. We're also working on a stormwater code. Our current stormwater code needs a lot of work. And so that's just a very dry technical project, but it is getting done too. So that's just an update on what our department is working on currently. And, you know, things come and go. We get daily calls, daily emails. So every day looks a little different, but those are the big ones.
And could I just foot stomp one issue you brought up, and that is, she was very subtle about it, but on density and height is absolutely critical to this board. And it's like ADUs, it's like a dog whistle when you bring up height and density to council. So it's gonna have to be approached very, very well. And you guys would potentially have a big role in hopefully helping council understand the implications and the issues when it comes to height and density.
Can I just say briefly, I wanted to say last time, but I really appreciate Hannah coming to our special meeting and taking the time out to see that we're really dedicated to affordable housing and knowing that you have limited capacity, but still coming to the meeting and telling us how our visions align with what you're working on. That really stuck with me after the meeting, and I really appreciated that.
Agree. Thank you. All right. Any other board member reports that weren't part of the agenda? No? All right, then we will call this a meeting at adjourning 6:48. Thank you all, wishing you all safety and relaxation.
I'll hold on to them. You don't have to do that.
All right,
We have a whole drawer.
all right, Michael.
Have a good
Thanks.
night.
Bye,
Michael.
Michael.
Good night. Bye.